The holidays are coming, and so are your relatives. Room to Room is here to help you get ready for company. Enjoy 50% off on the furniture you need, dining, sleepers, mattresses, and more. Plus 24-month special financing. Company's coming. Get ready at Room to Room Tupelo.
Tupelo Smiles is a top-notch group. They're very compassionate about what they do. They've given me the smile that I've always wanted. I've been a patient for 15 years and I wouldn't go anywhere else. I just love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Well, happy weekend and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and we are tracking, well, soggy conditions for some, but heading into our Sunday, those rain chances really ramp up. Let's go ahead and get into those headlines here in the Room to Room Weather Center because we have a lot of tracking to do. So rain, yes, it's happening. It's just getting started and it's kind of setting the scene for a busier Sunday. Rain chances lingering on into this week, but more in an isolated fashion. We'll talk rain chances in just a moment. And of course, fall temperatures, they do return, and we're looking at a pretty crisp start heading into parts of late next week. We have a lot to talk about, and we haven't even included the headline of Melissa. Melissa now a hurricane, potentially becoming a very strong hurricane at that. But let's go ahead and jump back to the here and now right here in North Mississippi. The first 12, 7 p.m., 30% chances, but watch how those chances climb overnight. By 10 p.m., 40%, 1 a.m., 50%, 4 a.m., 60%, and 7 a.m., 70%. So that gradual incline as the night goes on. And as we head out tomorrow morning for those church services, you will need the rain boots, the rain gear, rain jacket, umbrella, everything you can to stay on the drier side because those chances really going to be more impactful heading into our Sunday. We've been talking about that all week, how it's more scattered in fashion for Saturday and more widespread by Sunday. And we're getting exactly that. Model still verifying that, but we'll take a latest look at that in just a moment. A look in Oxford where we're dealing with some showers out there, but as you can see, not really puddles on the road. This is more of a dampening on the roadways. So this isn't going to be overly impactful for travel, but enough to get at least the first, maybe second gear on those windshield wipers as you head into any of those commutes. Now, I know it's a party in Oxford right now as they got their victory this afternoon. My wife, very happy Rebel. Smithville, 69 degrees, and that stratus cloud blocking the sky, not exactly tracking any rainfall, but rainfall is coming for folks in Monroe County. If you're wondering whether or not to water those plants, probably go ahead and water them today, but tomorrow we'll not need to worry about it. Greenville, might as well call it Blueville. My word, that's a blue sky. 72 degrees, that southeasterly wind really driving this forecast, coming in about 14 miles an hour. As we know, down to the south, there is the Gulf, and that Gulf has a lot of moisture and a lot of heat, making way for some of these showers to take place. So if we loop this back over the last hour, we can really get an idea on the movement of this system. As you can see, these bands that are forming, moving in that northeast direction. So if we draw this out right here, it will really help you get a visual. Let me make sure it's on that latest scan. So there you go. There's one of the bands, there's another band, and there's another band. Now these are all extending in this northeasterly direction as we are right behind that warm front. This is the warm front overhead right now. And so a lot of these bands just continue to work their way through as we head into that extended forecast overnight. And our most significant rainfall actually going to come with locations. Let me jump to the latest scan towards Bruce, towards Oxford, and down around the Panola County area. That middle band right there, as we track 3 of them, that middle band going to be the most significant rainfall, but even then not overly high on those rainfall outputs. I mean, looking at the latest scans right here, if we populated a few of those rainfall totals, I told you that folks in Calhoun County getting a good bit, well, 7/10 of an inch right there. That's not a bad rainfall output, but we've been seeing these showers on radar for several hours now. It's just the fact that a lot of these rain showers are more elevated, and once they do reach the surface, we're only talking a drizzle to a sprinkle max. So if we keep populating in some of these greens that are popping up, that's around 1/4 of an inch, if not more. So we're seeing 4/10 of an inch in Webster County, where we were yesterday for our game of the week. Praise God that was not happening last night because that would have been a completely different forecast. Probably not a different outcome to that game though. 1/2 of an inch down around Starkville as our Bulldogs are currently taking on the Longhorns. Hey, horns down today, right? For all my state fans out there, we continue to work up north and west and we can see about 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/1500th of an inch. Not really impactful, but as we move that out there, we can kind of get a better scan from our Memphis radar site. And of course, that does show a little bit more significant rainfall as we're seeing a 1/2 inch down along Tate County and there towards Panola County. And then over there towards Arkansas, more significant as well. A lot of greens popping up. That going to be our forecast, pushing more into our Sunday. So we are not done with that rainfall just yet. And trust me when I say just getting started, underline, bold that, whatever you have to do to really remember it, because that's going to be a big part of our forecast. So we mentioned those bands working their way through the region. Well, that is right along our warm front, and this warm front really setting the scene for some more isolated activity right back here behind it. So in this warm sector is what we call it. So this area right here, more isolated in fashion, but if we clear that off and we kind of work our way down there towards the south and west, you can see we do have this cold front that's developing, and that's going to give us some decent chances. Maybe even some stronger storms down there in southwest Mississippi, but overall, we're tracking this low, the path that it takes, and if it were to move kind of directly overhead, maybe a little bit more towards the north, that's where we're going to get our most significant showers. Now, expanding this out one more time, the reason why we're going to get that, we have this term called wraparound moisture. So bringing in the marker one more time, you see how we do have this warm front lifting up there towards the north, but we have this thing that kind of wraps around. We have this counterclockwise motion around that low, and that's where we could get some showers on the back side. So even though that main threat moves through the first half of the day, we're not exactly done yet. We do have more action on the back side as that moisture wraps around. So the positioning of that low, a big driver in that forecast. So let's keep it going into our Saturday evening, and you can see that we do have that low pressure center up there around Oklahoma and Kansas. That actually is in a weakening phase right now. It's diminishing, not exactly going to be a strong low pressure center, and it redevelops further towards the south, and that's where that new low develops. Now pay attention to the movement on this low, because as you can see, already positioning itself much more to the south, and that's going to drive in a lot of moisture over here towards North Mississippi by the time we get towards our 3 a.m. hours. So I talked about that increase overnight that we're going to get with some of those rain chances taking full effect there by 3 a.m. with a lot of those, even a few thunderstorms embedded within that Mississippi River area down there, southwest Mississippi. You can see why they're in that severe weather threat. That's a much more increased threat to get some of those stronger storms. So luckily, not us this weekend. We had ours last weekend, and we are all good to go. So 6 a.m., yes, we're not dealing with exactly severe storms, but storms still a realistic possibility as some heavier downfall of rainfall and a few rumbles of thunder possible. But 6 a.m., I mean, look at the coverage that we're talking about here. So that morning commute to church, we are going to be dealing with a lot of those showers, and that continues to set the scene as that heart of the low basically goes right overhead. So this is going to be 9 a.m. I do think the positioning on our surface analysis is a little bit too far to the south. I would more position our low, let me think, closer to the Little Rock area, so probably about right there. So just a little bit off, probably a half state away from where that positioning actually is, but watch how this progresses. So we're going to take that into that extended forecast all the way into North Mississippi, and of course this low going to be following that same trend if we keep that same track right there, which moves it right overhead, which means that a wraparound moisture, definitely a realistic possibility and something to expect heading into our Sunday. So the next 24, rain chances covering basically every hour of the day. Highest chances going to be during the first half of the day as that first batch moves on through, but that wraparound moisture bringing 30 to 40% for any of those afternoon activities. If you're like my church and you're having trunk or treat tomorrow and wondering, do we keep that forecast outside? I would go ahead and err on the side of caution and move those forecasts indoors, because we are looking at a very soggy forecast for our Sunday. Unfortunately, I hate the time frame, and I would say, hey, reschedule, but next week is November at this time of the weekend. We're talking November 1st by next Saturday. Halloween's on Friday. So only so much you can do. So coming up in the next 60, we're going to continue to look at these showers and the impacts that we'll see with it, some of those rainfall outputs, and just how strong will these showers and storms get overnight. We'll have a full look at that live from the Room to Room Weather Center coming up from Mississippi Live Weather at 6 in the next 60.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
I said it once, but I'll say it again. Horns down. Bulldog Nation, we are on top tonight. It's going to be a great evening to celebrate, and just excited if we can hold on. Hey, we are still Mississippi State, so we got to err on the side of caution, but fingers crossed, we're looking good right now. They scored within the 10 minutes of the start of the show, and golly, where's this offense been? Anyway, sports aside, that was on Friday. Let's go ahead and move back into weather. 66 degrees there in Batesville, and what you're getting on those roads, a little bit different than what we saw in Oxford. Some ponding or puddling taking place, so that shows more significant rainfall has moved through Panola County, but that is transitioning into Lafayette County, so Oxford residents just wait some more significant rainfall in that forecast. Tupelo, this is what we have been getting all day. A blanket of cloud cover in the sky. I personally have not seen a drop of rainfall, and we don't live too far outside of Tupelo, but we will take it for sure. Been getting some alerts that there are showers trying to move into the area, so those bands are working their way on through, and we'll continue to track that here in just a moment. So we'll get to that tracking and that analysis in 1 second. But I first want to get down to Starkville because 68 degrees, not too shabby, especially whenever you're on a couple minutes away from a W. So I know folks out there excited. You can see the tents are pitched, enjoying that game day and enjoying tailgating over there in the junction. Now, tents were essential to tailgates today because we were dealing with some scattered showers. Our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut, actually down at the game, and he was telling me that there were a couple sprinkles at the start. So it's been a soggy forecast here, and it was a soggy forecast for the Rebels in Norman. So no matter where we went, our Mississippi teams unfortunately dealing with a little bit of some rainfall. Now, speaking of Caleb, I made him still work despite not being at work by sending us a picture from inside the stadium. And here you see a beautiful shot at the start of the game. Now, these fans did not know what would be coming their way, but I know there's a smile ear to ear now, knowing that their Bulldogs are taking care of business and sending Arch Manning back home. And that'll be a good thing. Back home with a loss, should I say. Now, Mississippi Live Weather Radar, we continue to see those bands work their way on through. That warm front continues to be the big story for the 5 and 6 o'clock hours. So as you can see right here, if we jump to this latest scan, I actually have to go to analysis mode here real quick. So bear with me while we change this over behind the scenes. But I'm going to put this, change this over. Actually, you need to track this out. Let's do 1 hour on those bands. And I would say we're working our way from the I-55 area all the way up to that northwest corner of Lafayette County. So if we kind of measure that out, old-fashioned way, going to do some math, we're talking 35 miles an hour or so. So again, not exactly our fastest moving storms, but this is all associated with that warm front and the movement that we're seeing along that warm front. So go to no laps right here. I'm going to drag this out and do right along this main band from Lafayette County all the way up to DeSoto County, and that's going to continue to work its way through and a little bit fast right there. There you see a few times on your screen. We're talking about the Toccopola area closer to about 614, the Bowman area 615, on there towards Lafayette Springs by 616, Hernando 618, Old Holka by 620, and Parkersburg closer to about 621. No severe weather expected. This is just going to be our most significant line of showers, but if you come up unlucky with that line, well, we have another band working its way through behind that warm front, and if we extend that out about 35 miles an hour as well, you can see a few times included within that, and that's going to be Coffeyville around right now, the Denton Town area 615. I'm learning some names today. Birdie Community 617, Spearman 617, Carter 618, and on there towards Lula by about 618 as well. So this is going to be something that we continue to see over the next several minutes, but honestly the next several hours and into our Sunday. So buckle up for some rainfall, have that rain gear ready as you get to church tomorrow, but we'll look at that forecast here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and keep assessing these storms. And I'm doing a thing that we have, a product that we have called rainfall rate. And as you can see at the top of your screen, we're not exactly talking about heavy rainfall. That's going to be more of those purples that show up, and not a purple in sight whenever it comes to these showers. So not exactly the highest of storms. I do see, I said that. Is that purple right there? Sure is. So right here around the Webster County area and Calhoun County, you can see some purple showing up. That was our heaviest rainfall of the day, so that's why southern Calhoun County got its outputs that they did. But that's really been the extent of our rainfall rates, unfortunately. Not exactly getting a significant amount of rainfall, but at least that means we can still get some of our things done outside that we need to. And this is a big indicator of why we're not getting those high rainfall rates. Usually we need those higher storm tops that allow for these raindrops to build over time before they fall all the way to the ground. And so that's why with these lower storm tops, or should I say shorter storm tops, we're not exactly getting that output as of right now. I do see some yellows out there towards Shelby and Cleveland, the potential to maybe get some heavier rainfall later on. But as of right now at 6 o'clock, we're not talking about those high outputs, maybe about a ½ inch per hour with these storms. So dog walking forecasts, yeah, have that rain gear ready. I know if you're like me and you have the pups and you still have to take them out, whether it's raining or not, have an umbrella, have something. If your dog's bougie like mine and just won't go to the bathroom whenever it's raining, tell them to man up and do it anyway. But that dog walking forecast, you're seeing those best chances closer to 8 p.m. So the later you wait, higher those rain chances will be. By midnight, we're talking 40%, and those up to about 70% towards our Sunday morning. So here you're seeing 7 p.m. Those showers continue to work their way across the region. This is actually behind that warm front that we have been tracking the entire time. So that's going to be that first system. That first system's warm front that continues to extend from Memphis all the way to Tupelo. That's going to be by 10 p.m. But you can see that low before it fades out, still getting some of that wrapping around out there towards Oklahoma City. So a very mature system, fortunately dissipating out before it reaches our area. But we do get an additional storm to develop, and that's going to be this low out there towards Houston. And that's going to be driving our forecast going forward. So that warm front building more into the area, already a saturated environment with the dissipating low that we did have. So that interacting together allows for more showers and potentially storms to form. And we're getting a lot of those showers to remain west of I-55 with the heavier outputs, but working its way east. So folks, east of 55, don't worry, you're going to still be getting your fair share of rainfall as well. That flash flood threat with those highest outputs, this is up until 6 a.m. on our Sunday. So this is why we do have those level 2 threats. It doesn't end at midnight, no, it ends at 6 a.m. So those level 2 threats for Cleveland, Belzona, Greenwood, and Clarksdale in place. And you'll see why here in just a moment whenever we look at some of those rainfall outputs. But this is going to be a very soggy forecast. Level 1 all the way to Bruce as some of those heavier outputs extend all the way into Calhoun County. So I'm going to zoom this out one more time because we really need to see an aerial view because, I mean, in summary, North Mississippi just getting its fair share of rainfall. We're going to go hour by hour on this. So this is a look at your 9 o'clock hour, still working its way through, but you can see as the day goes on, not exactly getting as significant of outputs. There's going to be more light to moderate rainfall with Grenada all the way south towards Chula getting those highest rainfall amounts. That continues to work its way through the region as this frontal boundary continues all the way over to Highway 45 by 10:30 into noon. And that's where those heaviest outputs remain. And you think, well, the threat's over, right? Our afternoon's still looking spick and span. Well, unfortunately, not the case. We still get to see that warm front lift into the area, but once that low works its way all the way through, this isn't exactly a mature low, so some of that moisture does try to wrap around still, and that moisture is going to be covering a broad area, I mean, extending all the way into Springfield, Fort Smith, and there into Texarkana before we get some of that rainfall back here into North Mississippi. So zooming it back in, this is 6 o'clock on our Sunday. Some of those heaviest outputs still right along Highway 45 with some of that moisture lingering in the forecast. So like I said, if you're like my church and have a trunk or treat tomorrow afternoon, figure out a plan B because we're not looking at exactly the best of outputs right now. And we definitely need to have a plan B in place so we can still have trunk or treats, but might just need to move it indoors. Our flash flood threat for tomorrow. This is again from 6 a.m. all the way to 6 a.m. on Monday. We're seeing that level 1 threat encompass basically all of North Mississippi. So have that rain gear ready for those church commutes, those church services, and even towards those lunch plans because this is going to be something we deal with all day long. Now rainfall totals. This really gives you a visual on what to expect. So this is 9:30 p.m. and those heaviest outputs still right along that Cleveland, Belzona, and Greenwood area. Some trace amounts possible east of there, but overall we expect it to be out west. Let's keep that forecast going into that 2 o'clock hour, and already we're talking 2+ inches right along Highway 61 all the way to I-55, especially on the southern threat right there. We keep that forecast going all the way to 7 a.m. This is what I'm talking about, with some locations talking about 4+ inches of rainfall. And that's why that level 2 threat is in place, especially for folks from Clarksdale to Greenwood all the way south there into the Jackson area. Whenever you see 4+ inches, that becomes a realistic possibility to see some flooding, some isolated flooding, or some broad-scale flooding, and that's one of the things we'll be tracking here on our Sunday morning. So submit your reports to us, Mississippi Live Weather. You can do so through our email, info@msliveweather.com, or through pictures, and we'd love to forward that to the National Weather Service to keep everyone informed on how things need to be issued and warned. You guys do a phenomenal job with that and make our job so much easier whenever it comes to getting those reports to who it needs to go to. Let's keep that forecast going all the way into our Sunday afternoon, and this is about noontime. We're getting a 1/2 inch along Highway 45, so not as high of amounts, but a 1/2 inch still going to be impactful and give us exactly what we need to water those plants and honestly take care of anything that needs watered outside. We keep that forecast going Sunday 3 p.m. Maybe another 1/2 inch. I would expect more of a 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch beyond that forecast as those showers kind of work their way back through the region by 3 p.m. And if we keep that forecast going, some areas getting all the way up to 1 inch. That's why a lot of models just kind of forecasting the same thing where we are going to get those showers lingering all day long, Best threat towards the morning, but afternoon still scattered in nature and enough to kind of reassess those plans. So 7 p.m. still going to be a soggy forecast, and those continue to work their way out of the region by 10 p.m. on our Sunday and even into those overnight hours once again. So Monday continues that same forecast of tracking those rain showers. So let's go ahead and get into that Sunday night forecast. And as you can see, a lot of those isolated showers working their way through the region. And that's where we're expecting some more development, not severe development, but some more development of at least showers and maybe the potential of a few rumbles of thunder as well. That works its way through the region, and then we'll see a lot of those chances carry over towards Birmingham. So I know my mom over there in St. Clair County working her way over to the classroom on Monday morning. Well, she'll have her rain gear handy, and so will my dad if he wakes up a little bit early, but waiting later on in the day, a lot of that does carry out. We do get some isolated showers due to that wraparound moisture here on our Monday morning, seeing that develop right overhead, but a lot of these chances going to primarily be towards Alabama. We're just going to be dealing with maybe a few brief showers all the way here in North Mississippi for our Monday. So honestly, still playing those events outside if they are outside, but it's a risk. It is always a risk whenever those isolated chances are in the forecast. Keeping that forecast going all the way into our midnight and beyond. Drier conditions are in place, but not forever. And that's the thing about it. We are going to be dealing with some more rain chances later on. So high temperatures, as you can see, the next 7 days, dropping into those mid to upper 60s for the latter part of our weekend and early next week. Then the cold front really takes effect and drops our temperatures to 60 Wednesday, 59 by Thursday. You're thinking, Gabe, oh man, that's pretty cool, right? We'll just wait till you see low temperatures. Let's go ahead and carry that over to the next slide. And as you can see right here, yes, mid 50s for the weekend. It's going to be a very soggy environment, but then the roller coaster goes downhill, and it goes downhill fast all the way into the upper 30s by Friday morning. Woo! Is it cold enough for you? Well, if we say fall-like temperatures, I would dare say we're on winter territory by this point, but 39 degrees, climbs right back, so we're not expecting that forever, but 39 is going to feel real nice Friday morning, walking my wife out the door to go to school. Long sleeves essential by then. So rain chances, with that soggy forecast in mind, it is going to keep those temperatures pretty mild for what we typically expect this time of year, but beyond that point, whenever it dries up, that front fully clears the region, high pressure builds in, that's where rain chances go to nothing, and temperatures start dropping. Your forecast for your Sunday, of course, going to be a soggy forecast at the beginning, but scattered chances lingering by the afternoon. So rain gear, have it around, keep that umbrella right by the doorway, and you'll be glad you did because you will definitely need it all day long for your Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, there you see those isolated chances sticking around, but that front fully working its way through the region by Tuesday, and then we'll start to dry up heading into that forecast beyond. 59 degrees Thursday for the high and 43 for the start. I mean, to give you perspective, our high temperature Thursday is nearly our low temperature heading into our Sunday morning. Beyond that, 39 degrees by Friday, 63 by the afternoon. Football forecast, looking ahead of time, if we're talking 41 Saturday morning, means those temperatures are going to be, I'm going to say chilly for our Friday night football forecast if this continues to remain in place. So long sleeves, keep them out, get them ready, get the dust off of them, and they will be put to good use this week. Now, coming up here in just a moment, we do have the latest on Melissa. Currently a hurricane down there in the tropics. Just what can we expect from that storm, and is it going to be close to our area? We'll find out here on Mississippi Live Weather at 6 in the next 60.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
Scary that it can be put into anything. We can't even see it or notice it.
Well, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I see some folks in chat cheering on their respective teams. I saw Go Rebels. I saw congratulations to State. Hey, I'm not saying congratulations just yet. Have it up behind the scenes. Currently 38-28 with 7 minutes left in the fourth. Texas does have ball, so I'm going to knock on wood for my saying earlier. I got to keep in mind that we are the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and winning hasn't really been in our DNA here recently. So fingers crossed, I have faith, but I'm not 100% sure that win will be secured. We'll see what happens. And I also saw in the chat that someone was asking about the Crimson Tide. They did just secure that W 29-22 over South Carolina, a comeback in the fourth quarter. So shout out to the Crimson Tide. I know my wife's not exactly going to be the happiest about that, but to each their own. She's just trying to get the Rebels on top, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. So what we're watching right now is, of course, rainfall in our area, but if you take a look a little bit south, just south of Cuba, we do see Hurricane Melissa in full force. I'm not saying strong just yet, but it has the potential to become a strong storm because the environment that it's in is very primed for strengthening. As you can see right here, atmospheric moisture, a lot of moisture there in the tropics right now in the area that it's building into. So what it starts doing is it starts cycling in some of this air all the way into the heart of that storm. And whenever there's more greens, especially darker greens, sets the scene for a more active system. Just expanding things out here real quick, you can see some of that drier air. It's this orange brown looking air, that drier air. If that was cycling into the storm, then we'd say this is a diminishing storm, but not the case. As you can see, the closest dry air all the way in Mexico. So this is going to be a strong storm continuing to develop. Unfortunately, water temperatures don't get all the way down there towards northern South America, just off the Panama coast. So we're not getting a good visual, but you can assume how warm that water is. I mean, well into those 80s. So it is going to be a toasty body of water. It's also going to be a very saturated air, and that's going to really grow that storm, and we're talking about the potential for a major hurricane. So let's go ahead and watch those tropics. As you can see right here, Saturday 4 p.m., that Hurricane Melissa continued to work its way through. Currently Category 1. But that thing changes really quick. 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I think when we were talking about it 2 days ago, it was 45. So already showing that strengthening pattern. 974 millibars at the heart of this storm. But if you get a look at that track, Sunday morning, we're already talking about it reaching major hurricane strength. That's at Category 3 and above. If we keep that forecast going, Category 4 there by Sunday afternoon, and Category 5, a realistic potential by Monday afternoon. Now, this has been a historic season for strengthening those storms all the way to Category 5 strength. Luckily, none of those have impacted our area. But the thing that we're concerned about here is for folks in the Jamaica, Cuba, those areas. I mean, we're tracking a major hurricane making landfall and affecting those communities as well. If it's Category 5, it could be Category 4. Either way, going to be damaging in its own right, moving right through that heart of Cuba and the Dominican Republic area. So not exactly going to be a good situation. Go ahead and say your prayers for folks down there. They need to be getting prepared, but this is not exactly looking like an ideal situation for them. The only good thing we can take from this is it's not moving close to North Mississippi or anywhere in the central United States, but still, the fact that it's making landfall in a location is a bad situation. We don't want that ever. But beyond that, once it fully clears the islands of Cuba, it really moves into the Atlantic Ocean, therefore becoming a fish storm, which means not affecting us here on land. So your day planner today, we are dealing with moisture. We are dealing with showers, but not any that are coming from Melissa. Those remain further towards the south of North Mississippi and will not affect our forecast. But still a soggy forecast, 30% there by 8. If you're looking to get anything done this evening, go ahead, have that rain gear on standby because more than likely you will see a shower as you commute to said location. 40% there by 10 and midnight 40% as well. So that forecast continues to up in rain chances beyond this point. And Sunday, they call them Sunday scaries. Is that, I feel like I've heard that phrase before. I guess this could be our Sunday soggy scaries. There we go. That's the forecast for tomorrow. So folks in chat, I just see that, Jade, appreciate that. Yeah, pray for everybody in that storm's path because this is going to be a strong hurricane once it makes landfall. And yeah, so is it going to be bad weather tonight? Not tracking any bad weather, fortunately. No severe weather except for further south and west of our area. What we're going to get is just a lot of rainfall, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but honestly, exactly what we need here in North Mississippi. So grateful to be getting those decent rain chances. Horrible time frame is all I'll say. It could have been on a Monday, could have been on Tuesday, but the fact that it's on a Sunday, the Sunday right before Halloween, it means that some trunk or treats or fall festivals going to be impacted by that forecast. But we'll have a full look at that trunk or treat forecast coming up tonight at 10. As well as some of those latest model outputs for where it puts those rain chances as we get into our Sunday. So tune in for the very latest, and we'll hopefully be talking about a Bulldog W. We'll see what happens. Go ahead and say Hail State and give them the luck that they need. Ring a cowbell for them, but either way, Rebel or Bulldog, we need all the support that we can get. So go ahead and get the free app, our Mississippi Live Weather app, available on both iOS and Android, and it kind of updates you on those rain chances. I've got some alerts on my phone already saying rain detected close to your area or rain moving close to home. So I'm able to tell, what's going to impact my wife. I'm able to tell what's going to impact myself. And we can kind of assess how we need to go about the afternoon plans or evening plans, anything of that nature. Been a lifesaver so far. And we've not really even been in a severe pattern. So just very, very grateful to have that app on standby. Talked to some folks today over in Tupelo for an event that we attended, and we'll have a full look at that coming up at 10 tonight, so tune in. But at the event, we were talking to folks about the app and just blown away by what it was capable of doing. So if you don't have it, you're definitely missing out, but you're also missing out on our live streams. Those live shows happening at 5, 6, and 10 on your weekdays, and 6:37 and 7:30, same thing on your weekdays. But during the weekends, 6 and 10, we'll be back here at 10 o'clock tonight for the latest on that forecast. We'll see you then.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.